What's up, everyone? It's the 15th of April. Usually a bad day, but today it's going to be a good day. It's tax day. That's why I'm doing my 25% discount. I only do it on special occasions. RB 415. I know everybody hates this day. Well, everybody in the United States does anyways. So 25% off. You guys know I rarely do that. I'm doing that discount. But it is a good day today. You guys can see this thing I have over here. This HX Stomp. I've had this for a little while. I have presets that are on flat5.com. Aaron's website that I developed with my assistant Ken. That we put up there a few days ago. I haven't announced that. It's actually for the HX Stomp and the full-size one. We have presets for both. So any of you that are interested in there and that have heard me play this, I've been playing this in my last few live streams, and I've been working. It's everybody always would complain about the sound because the amps would be overloading when I use my amplifiers here with this cam. Sorry about the autofocus here. I'm going to try and stare up at it. Then it'll keep it from doing that. So Helix, all types of Helix presets here. So I want to talk about breaking out of the cage system. And for those of you that don't know what the cage system is, I have a video on the cage system, but it's based out of the chord, the actual chord shapes of C, A, G, right, E, and D. It's based out of those. It's a way to learn the neck based out of those chord shapes, really. And when I'm talking about doing arpeggios, it's really based on all those major chords and everything. But you got to learn minor chords too, right? You got to learn diminished chords. You got to learn augmented chords. It's all these different things to learn. But if I if I was going out of the C position, so I'm using this position. So that would be out of the C because it's based out of that chord. Okay, then if you did it out of this C, this would be the E position because you see that E major chord there. Okay, so that's what the cage system is. So how do you break out of the cage system? Well, breaking out of the cage system, that's the tricky part because you actually have to play what we call vertically. Oh, and by the way, any of you that haven't watched my Pro Tools click track hyper quantization video, what's up, China Mike? Good to see you, man. It was great to see you in England. For those of you that haven't seen that, it's pretty cool, I think. People are like, why are you yelling about stuff that happened 20 years ago or whatever? And it's actually an informational video for people that don't know what quantizing is. How many of you know what quantizing is? It's about this idea of hyper quantization. Hyper quantizing. So that's when you essentially cut up a performance, and usually when I say it's hyper quantizing, I say it's a performance where you're cutting it up on a 16th note subdivision. So you essentially cut everything up in 16th notes. So every hi-hat, basically every hit, and if you have a triplet, you have to actually adjust for that. And then you quantize it, a real drummer, so that you're basically creating a drum machine. But the problem is that these guys they'd take drum sounds of real drums that were recorded to a click, then they would quantize them. And then the mixer would go put samples on top of that. So if you're going to use samples and quantizing, just program the drums. So that's my deal with hyper quantization or hyper quantizing. I think it's insidious. But I'm going to do another video kind of about it later on, but and I'm going to talk about auto-tune as well. Okay, so now we need to talk about playing vertically. When I was first taught about playing vertically, there's a guy that I used to mow his lawn. His name was Tom Rizzo. When I first started playing guitar, he lived about 2 blocks away from my folks' house. And I was over at Tom's house mowing his lawn, and I didn't realize that he owned this big music store in town. So I'm thinking, I go inside for him to pay me, and I noticed all these guitars. And I was about 15 at the time. And I said, "Oh, you play guitar? I play guitar too." And he had all these really nice jazz guitars. So he goes, "Oh, okay, cool. Why don't you play me something?" So I played some stupid thing. I don't remember what. And I said, "Oh, play me something." And he says, he picks up his guitar and he plays this solo guitar thing, and it just blew my mind. He was amazing. He actually went on to play guitar with Doc Severinsen, who's what was a famous jazz trumpet player. And he played on The Tonight Show, but he lived 2 blocks away from me. He's in California. He moved to California years ago. Tom Rizzo. He owned a store called T. Rizzo Music. Great guitar player. But he was the one that was first taught me about playing vertically on the neck. And so 5 Watt World, what's up? Everybody, you guys should subscribe to 5 Watt World and the China Guitar Skeptic. My friend Mike, who I saw in London, my very good friend who I saw last week. So Tom would showed me about playing arpeggios, fragments going up the neck, and he would just play up and down the neck like that, vertically, as you would call it. And he said, "Okay, let's take a scale like A major, or a chord like B minor chord." So I played B minor there. Then he did. So that's vertical playing. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the chords B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, A major. This is all A major. If you start down here, be A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, A major, and repeats. Okay. Robert said, "Isn't that horizontal?" Yeah, I guess that could be. Well, it depends on how you think of it. I always called it playing vertically up one string. But I guess if you're playing horizontal, I think of horizontal as being horizontal with the ground. Your hand is moving up the neck. Okay, so you're playing vertically there? I mean, that's well, it doesn't matter. Playing up the neck versus playing across the neck. Okay, everybody can follow that. We'll get a ruling on that, Robert, but that's a very good point. So the first thing you do is to practice that. Okay, so I'm just going to put a chord on, like I like to do, to play over. And I'm just going to play those arpeggios so you can hear what they sound like over a B minor chord. So. Now, I'm going to play up. So, what I was doing there is I was playing up one, down the next, or I was playing at the first part I did. And the reason I play that idea is that you want, I like what Jay just called it, connecting the flow. You don't want to repeat an idea more than usually 3 times or 4 times. 1, 2, 3. Usually 3 times is the amount that you should really do a sequence, okay? Unless you're playing Freebird, you know, or something that where you're doing something, whatever you're doing. If you're doing certain kind of sequences at the height of a solo can really, you know, bring it home. But I think that these kind of ideas melodically are really strong if you change it around on the third, after the third time. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's hard to talk and play. Let me do it. Then I can go. Okay, so I changed the idea. Then after I did it 3 times, I changed it again. The rule of 3, Stan just said. So let me play it again with a chord so you can hear what it sounds like. Okay, so on the way down, I played something like this. So I'm playing a, this is a 5 pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you play a 5 pattern, it sounds cool because every other time it hits on a strong beat. Listen. Okay, so that's a beautiful, beautiful sound, I think. Let's see here. There we go. So that is so that's one way of playing vertically. Okay, so that's a little bit that if we simplify it, even just take a couple notes per string. You'll see me do this occasionally. So I would, and Tom showed me this. He literally showed me this lick there. So I'm using all the notes of A major. I'm just starting on here. I'm thinking of this B minor shape here, though. Now listen to it with a chord. You'll hear it, because I always like to play it with a chord so you can hear what it sounds like. So that is, I combine the two ideas, the 2-note per string. All this is in the Beato book. So the Beato book is on sale today, special 25% off. You guys know I rarely do this, but RB 415. What's that keyboard sound that I'm using? That is Omnisphere. That is the best keyboard pad sound that every EDM producer used for the last however long. it's funny. I owned Omnisphere. I bought it in 2001 when it used to be called Atmosphere. They had in one of the magazines, they had a picture of clouds and they said Atmosphere. And I said, I'm buying that. There was no demos or anything. And I just, from the picture, it said it had 3,000 sounds or something. But really, every EDM producer, every film composer, everyone owns Omnisphere. It's the greatest keyboard pad sounds. It does all the Juno sounds. It does everything you can think of. So if you want to buy a plugin that does pads like that, I mean, it literally will do any kind of pad. The only criticism I have of this, and I've owned it for 18 years or something like that. Whenever it first came out, I bought it. Maybe it was a little bit later than that. Maybe it was 2004 or 5. But my only criticism is that it has too many sounds. It takes way too long to go through. Okay. If you have a Juno 106 Dean, that's cool. Okay. So once again, playing vertically or horizontally or however we're playing up the neck this way. Okay. So let's talk more about that. The next thing to do that Tom showed me was to take sequences on one string. He said this is a great way to learn where the notes are. So you can play. So he was very big into. You're very big into like. Hard to do is to make those jumps and try and do them really accurately. So if I think of these notes up here, I'm thinking of those notes from the B minor. So I'm starting on this F sharp. Obviously, as you get closer, it becomes easier to do that, right? Because he used to say, you have to know what those notes sound like up there. And don't always be caught in these guitaristic kind of things where you're playing in one position, going across like this, and getting into all these guitar patterns, because you're going to play much more melodically. If you watch people like Metheny play, who's the most melodic guitar player, or Wes Montgomery, the two most melodic guitar players, I think, period. They play all over the neck. They're down here, they're up here, they're back here, they're back here, they're back here, they're back here. All up and down one string, things like that. Those are people that know the neck, but they know the sounds of what those notes are way up there. Okay? So then I would do, so he'd show me this thing. He'd say, you take a note like here. So I'm using those notes of B Dorian or A major. And he would have me do that so that I would really get those notes under my fingers like that. So listen to what it sounds like once again with a pad behind it. It's hard to do. You notice it gets easier as I get up here, the frets get closer. That's a hard one there. That absolutely kills my hand when I do that. That's funny. I was out doing some yard work yesterday using these clippers, and my forearms are incredibly sore today. So now you do that on the E string, and then you go to the B string and do the same. And then and you get all the notes that way. And that's tough to do. Right, so you start it here. Then here. Then you go to the G string and so on and so forth and go down the neck that way. Kills, okay? Then another thing would be, you can do the same, you can do similar things here. Let's say you take a simpler scale like a, let's say I take an A major pentatonic, okay? So what I'm doing, I'm playing vertically there. So I'm taking two notes of the A major pentatonic, but I'm playing them just on the A and D string. So there. Then here, here. There's the scale. If you think about A major pentatonic here. Okay, so that's playing vertically in a pentatonic scale. Now, obviously, you do that in every position, or you take three strings and you do it. Let's say I'm doing that B minor pentatonic, right? For this B minor chord. So if I get this scale, but I'm playing just these notes. All right. This is the tricky one. You'll see guys like Joe Bonamassa will do that actually. We'll go up and down. We'll go up and down the neck that way with those. Let me play along with the track here, or the chord, I mean. Love the sound of that. That's really cool. Now, if I took an A major pentatonic, thank you, Enzo. Do I know online course of music teacher by Skype license prepare you for an audition at Berkeley with a full scholarship? Prepare you for an audition. I don't know of an online guitar Skype teacher, but you know what? Email me. Or email Aaron at Flat5, and I'll think about that. I'm sure I know somebody. Okay, so if I used a different pentatonic, let's say I used A major pentatonic over that B minor chord, and that's going to give me the 9th of the chord in there. So it's going to be different fingerings here. So, okay, so, right? So listen to the sound of this. This is going to be a little different. This gives me a B minor 9 sound. This is a beautiful sound, I think. So check this out over the chord. So I've got, thinking A major. Beautiful. It's that note there. That's the note that's a beautiful one. I love it though. I can do that climbing look like this. So, those are, to me, when you can get those pentatonics, combining the minor pentatonic and that pentatonic with the 9th in it. So, like going D major pentatonic to A major pentatonic, or B minor pentatonic to this one would be F sharp minor pentatonic. Okay, so I got B minor pentatonic, F sharp minor pentatonic. Those two together are really, really cool. Okay, so it's really thinking A major to D major to A major pentatonic. Okay, they have one note different between them, but once again, let me play those in position so you can see them that way. So I'm here. Woo! That's tricky, but that is fun, and I think that sounds really good. Those are the kind of sounds that I like. So from Tom teaching me these things, and this is right at the same time. This is right at the same time that Kid Charlemagne came out. I remember that when I heard Larry Carlton's solo, that I was like, those are the things that Tom's talking about. And when he did that, I remember asking Tom about that, and he said, oh, that's that mixed sharp 11 scale, or Lydian flat 7. And he said he's thinking that C major triad over that. He said that. That's that scale, that mixed sharp 11 scale. It's called Mixolydian sharp 11 because it's a Mixolydian sharp 4, really. root. If you think of B flat 7 chord. Beautiful sound. Love that. Love that stuff. So those are really the playing vertically like that is I think honestly, if you want to learn to play melodically, that's really the way that you should practice. Those are the things. My old guitar teacher, Mick Goodrick, talked about that a lot too. He talked about that a lot. And Joe just said, you'll hear none of this on the radio today. Well, you know what? You don't hear it on the radio until you hear it on the radio. So some people have to go out there, some young kids, and write some songs that you can play those kind of things on there. I mean, Donald Fagen wrote songs that those types of sounds fit over. That's really the key. Is that he wrote chords that chord changes that you could actually play those dominant seventh with the sharp 4 sounds on them. And, so did guys like Gino Vanelli. So did people, it wasn't just Steely Dan. There were other people that were doing it. So nowadays it's pretty much relegated to bands like Snarky Puppy and fusion style bands. But there's definitely a way to write songs that are pop songs that have those kind of chord progressions. It's just that no A&R guy wants to let anybody write those. So basically you have to do this and then get yourself a hit song on YouTube or Instagram or wherever people have hit songs now. So, anyhow, that's all I've got for today. Discount code is RB415, tax day 25% off anything in my store. If you guys are interested in these Helix Stomp presets, I have a lot of them. I haven't done a demo video of them yet, but I got 3 packs. They have demos. If you go to Aaron's site, flat5.com, you can find it there. You can listen to the sound samples, but I came up with them with my assistant, Ken, who we've been working together for nearly 20 years. Okay, so you guys are the best. Look out for a new video. I've got my video with Christian Henson from my London trip coming up. When's the next Beato Club live stream? Is going to be tomorrow. So any questions you have, leave them here in the comments section, okay? You guys are awesome. So it's a Helix stomp pedal here. I'll show it to you for those that just. I know China Mike was just asking here. It's this one. I don't know. You can't really see it, and I can't lift it up because it's plugged in here. But there you go. It really has worked great for these live streams because it's plugged directly into my microphone, and I've had no one complaining about the sound, which is amazing. All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you later.